We need to look at what is it that brought us to this point in our life. What got us? Was it our job? Was it our family? Was it our spouse? Sometimes we need to take a reality check and actually ask, what is it that got us to this point? Am I even satisfied where I am right now? You have your Bibles open up to Mark 14. We're going to look at verses 1 through 9. That's Mark 14, verses 1 through 9. I know. It was also better when there was a baby. And it reads as, now after 2 days was the feast of Passover and the unleavened bread, and the chief priests and the scribes sought how they might take him meaning Jesus, suddenly, and kill him. For they said, not during the feast, lest happily they show tumbling other people, and there should be a uproar amongst the people. And while he was in Bethany in the house of Simon the leper, as he sat and ate meat, there came a woman having an alabaster box of ointment of pure nard, very costly. And she brake the box and poured it over his head. But there were some that had indignation among themselves, saying, to what purpose hath this waste of ointment been made? For this ointment might have been sold above 300 shillings and given to the poor. By the way, 300 shillings back then would be $16,000. Today it would be probably $31,000. And they murmured against themselves, against her. But Jesus said, let her alone. Why trouble ye her? She hath wrought a good work on me. For ye have the poor always with you, and whensoever ye will, ye can do them good. But me, you have not always. She hath done what she could. She hath anointed my body beforehand for the burial. And verily I say unto you, whosoever the gospel shall be preached throughout the world, the whole world, that also which this woman hath done shall be spoken of for a memorial of her. Once again, I want to read verse 9 because that will be our key verse. And verily I say unto you, whosoever the gospel shall be preached throughout the whole world, that also which this woman hath done shall be spoken of for a memorial of her. I really wanted to highlight some things throughout these scriptures that we read today. And we see at the beginning, it talks about those who were gathered. It talks about the chief priests and scribes. And I want to put a note there and say that scribes have been painted with a negative picture, But I want you to understand that not all scribes were negative people. After all, you do have the Gospels, and they were written by the people who named them, right? We got Matthew, Mark, Luke, John. They were written by those people, and they were scribes. So I want you to not see scribes as something negative. It's very important that I wanted to make this point because, after all, it was a scribe who wrote this chapter 14, and this particular scribe was Mark, and he made some really definitions about what happened during this time with this feast, and when this woman came amongst all these men. But if you want to go into more detail on your personal time, you can look at Luke 7, verses 36 through 50. Luke really goes into more detail about these events surrounding this time. So today I want to just talk to you. I think we all can have a discussion about it. And if I did have to choose a topic for today's discussion, it will be my passion, my desire is not for sale. Again, my passion, my desire is not for sale. When we think of the word sale, we associate it with something being marked down from its original price. We think and see it as an opportunity to get something for a lesser cost. We see it as a deal. For the sake of today's teaching, I want us to see this more than just an exchange of commodity for money. I want us to see it as actions of selling something, or see it as something being exchanged or traded at a reduced or lower value. Again, I want us to see it as an exchange or a trade at a reduced or lower value. That word reduced was really interesting to me. When I looked it up, I found out that it means to bring someone or something to a lower or weaker state, condition, or role. See, when we think of something being reduced, we always associate it with the sale or with the price. But that's just the surface level, and I want us to go a little bit deeper. Again, it means to bring someone or something to a lower or weaker state, condition, or role. So anytime we put a limit on the gift that God has called us to be, or anytime that we reject authority that's encouraging us to function as the gift that we're called to be, or anytime that we stop believing in the gift that God has called us to be, or anytime that we don't function in the gift that God has called us to be, or anytime that we don't use the gift that God has called us to use, or anytime we allow others or ourselves to use it for the benefit of abusing or manipulating others, we have reduced the value of our gift. Did you hear what I said? Anytime we do any of those things, we have reduced the value of our gift. So we can't talk about price reduction or value without looking at that word sale or selling. That word selling, it means to give or hand over something in exchange for money, to persuade someone to accept or talk them into doing something. Bring someone around to do something. Win someone over to do something. Win approval for. Trick or deceive someone. So we see this selling a lot in ministry. We see it a lot in amongst the time when preachers call for the offering and tithe. We see it a lot in the prophetic. It's a selling point. I even heard when we were having a conference at my former ministry and I was sitting amongst leaders, and I probably said this before, and I think it's really appropriate now. I was sitting amongst other leaders, and the guest speaker said, "How much you running, Doc? What do you want me to say when it's time to get the money? How much do you need?" And I'm thinking, like, is he really discussing this, a plan of action to get the people to give money? He said, "How much do you need? What do you want me to say?" I got it. I know what to say to get the money. This is happening today, a selling point. But I want to really switch the way we think, because look at it as a selling point where we've accepted a selling point in our life to sell out the gift that we are. Or what was the point in our lives that we talked ourselves into a selling point to believe something about us and not function or operate in the gift that we are? What was the selling point for you? You know, in the scripture that we read, this woman, she had a vision and a mission. And I really found it really interesting because here it is, she is a woman and she is born up in the midst of men. And at that particular time, amongst their custom, it was not permitted for a woman to congregate with men. This is one single woman, and she's coming in the midst of all these men. So this is why I say she had a vision and a mission. Even though the idea, the thought came from God, she had to take the time out to process it. That means she had a vision about it. She had to see herself doing something. She had to come up with the idea. Okay, I got the idea. God, you dropped it in my spirit, and I see it. Now she had the mission. The mission is to actually put it into form and do it. And during the midst, what I'm trying to get at is when a vision or a mission is presented to us, or we even write one out and think about one, and we put it down on paper, we don't see the challenges. The challenges are not built into the vision and mission. We don't see these things. But along with the vision and mission, this woman, she took a risk. See, we don't see that in the vision and mission. But she took a risk. Remember, I said she was coming in the congregation of men. She took a risk. How many of us are willing to take a risk? She took a risk. Let's look at verse 5 on that 14. I want to kind of expound on that. For this ointment might have been sold above 300 shillings and given to the poor, and they murmured against her. You know, today, if we take this verse, that verse, and really apply it to today, we'll see that this is happening now, where somebody will tell you, you shouldn't be doing that with your gift. The thing that you're so passionate about, the thing that you have a desire to do that nobody else can do, that nobody else can persuade you with words to do it, they'll tell you that you shouldn't do this. They'll use persuasive words like, take your gift and come over here. We got room for you. They'll say words like, we need what you have because they don't appreciate you. And they'll even go so far as to begin to reject you so you can do what they want you to do. They'll use words like, you can make so much money in what you're doing right now with your gift. I'm quite sure you heard that, guy. You dancing, and you don't need to just don't be talking about God and just come over here we can hook you up. I've heard that. I've heard it plenty of times. When I give a prophetic word and it's really confirmed and they believe it, and others that are watching them, and you need to come over here because we need you. Why do I need to come over there? No, you're not going to prostitute the gift that I am. My passion, my desire is not for sale. We can turn on Christian television and we can see a lot of people who have passion, who had a desire, they sold out. They put a price and a higher value of monetary money on the gift that they are. They sold out. I want you to notice too that the gift that this woman had, it was pure. It was unmixed. It didn't contain anything else. It was not diluted. It wasn't fake. It didn't have no artificial filters in it. It wasn't watered down. Her gift was genuine. It was very precious, costly, and valuable. Again, my passion, my desire is not for sale. Look at the gift that you are today. Is it pure? Is it unmixed with anything? Do it have some artificial stuff in it? Or do you see your gift as genuine, precious, costly, valuable? You know, today some of us have fallen. When I say us, I'm talking about the body of Christ in general. Some of us has fallen prey to selling our gift to the highest bidder, whether it be in actual ministry, whether it be on our jobs. We sold our gift to the highest bidder. You know, this woman that we read about today, she was faced with a decision. She had an expensive gift. She could have cashed it in. She could have did what the others wanted her to do, cashed it in and gave it the money to the poor. Or she could have just did nothing with it. How many of you see yourselves in that? Expensive gift that you are, valuable gift that you are, you can cash in. You can sell yourself for the poor or to the highest bidder, or just don't do nothing at all.
I think this is definitely an area for me that has been challenging. I think one of the things that I had to understand was, you mentioned the word desire. And when I researched that word and researched scriptures, I had to come to the understanding that that desire was put in me by God, not by man. And what I was thinking, that man put that desire in me. And so when I came to that understanding and that realization that that desire was given to me by God, and I was researching a couple of scriptures. He says in the book of Psalms 21:12, you have given him his heart's desire. And then in Psalms 145, he will fulfill the desire of those who fear him. So that desire came from him. Then I found out that the word desire also means the word seek in Hebrew. It's seek, S-E-E-K. So then I started studying the word seek, and I found out that it wasn't what I thought seek in the Hebrew was not equivalent exactly what it meant in the Webster's dictionary. And the word seek means to inquire, to swell out, to desire earnestly, by implication to ask. I think I said inquire already, commit, to run down. The word seek means to take heed, deliver. There were so many words that so many meanings that this word seek meant, which is in Hebrew, the word desire. So I had to change my way of thinking as it relates to the gifts. And it was a challenge at first because it goes against the norm. It goes against that the traditional way of doing it. And so that's what was helpful for me at the beginning.
Thank you. You brought up a good point, and I wanted to say too. Although God gave us the desire, we still have a choice in what we do with that desire. And thank you for that. A lot of people don't realize that they have a choice to do what they want with that desire that God gives us. And often, if they do realize it, they'll take it and sell it to the highest bidder. And some won't, but most will. Like this woman, she took her gift and used it to fulfill her desire and passion. We see it in Mark 14:9. It says, "Verily I say unto you, whosoever the gospel shall be preached throughout the world, the whole world, that also which this woman hath done shall be spoken of for a memorial of her." I want us to dig a little deeper into this particular verse, into what this woman actually did. I don't want you just to see or remember somebody preaching about, the alabaster box, or even thinking about the song, but I want us to dig deep into what this woman actually did, and why is it that Jesus said that wherever the gospel shall be preached, that that it's going to be preached about, include this woman, and for a memorial of her. Why would he say that? This woman, she had an expensive gift. Yes, it was pure, it was genuine. She anointed Jesus, but I still want to understand, why did Jesus say that? Perhaps he said that because when you or I preach or teach the gospel, it should produce passion and desire in those who hear the message. Perhaps it's because Jesus, saw her passion and desire in action. It was her passion and desire that caused her to give an outward account of all that she did. Passion, to have a deep affection. This would include love, anger, revenge. However, I want us to talk about passion that cause us to love. This type of passion that is coupled with our desire and causes us to blaze up with fire. This passion and desire that causes us to have compassion, that brings a feeling of safety, meaning having a sound and peaceful mind. This passion and desire where we are sober and have self-control. This is the passion that I believe that Jesus saw in her. Passion should be the driving force that shapes a person's lifestyle. It should be the driving force that shapes the way we think and the way we act until we see a total fulfillment of what we are passionately pursuing. Energy and thoughts is propelled into pursuit, and those who are passionate aggressively remove all barriers and self-limitations that prevent unlimited fulfillment. You know, their entire lives, these people who have passion, their entire lives, uh, uh, their entire thought pattern revolve around their passion. The word desire is an active, strong-willed effort to bring into fulfillment the expected event, thought, or answer. Those who are fueled by desire allow that desire to set a time framework towards the process of its fulfillment. Desire is actively working towards bringing all circumstances, situations to be in favor of the desired good. It's more than just a mental exercise. Our desire is more than just a mental exercise. It's planning, it's having a planned action strategy for the success of the desired goal. You know, when I was looking up that mental exercise, I came across so many meanings, and I just want to put some things out there to you. Mental exercise is something that only occurs in the mind. It's when a person performs mental stimulation tasks. This is where most of us have been stuck, just performing mental stimulation exercises in the mind without actively transforming those thoughts into a strategy. Today, in most churches or places of worship, the preaching seems to influence people on a certain level that affects them emotionally, with little evidence or fruit of the message being received. We've heard, hold on, your breakthrough is coming. We've heard, you're next in line for a miracle. We've heard, you're next for healing. We've heard, your deliverance is just around the corner. You know, this type of hype has caused believers for years to stay stuck in a place of wishing for something in the future that they can have today. Oh, I wish God would heal me, but maybe one day He will. I wish I knew what God was doing, but maybe someday He'll tell me. I wish God would speak to me. Maybe someday He will. I wish I was like, and you feeling it. So, wishing is a passive mental thought pattern with the expectation of seeing something fulfilled in the future. Those who wish for things have to understand there is no set time for whatever is being wished for. It allows circumstances and situations to take over the natural course towards being fulfilled. It's mostly a mental exercise with little effort in working towards fulfillment. It's the fear of doing something in reality. It prevents any actions or active involvement in the desired mental thought. You know, people can wish on so many things. I was looking at that word wishing, and I remember throwing money into a wishing wheel and hoping and thinking that whatever I was wishing on is going to come true because I put some money to it. Even having dandelions, and people say, you know, when the wind blow on the dandelions, make a wish. And then, you know, the famous one is when you see a star and it looks like it's you know, flying through the atmosphere, make a wish on it. How many people in here have done that? How many people online have done that? Make a wish upon a star. They even got a song about it. And this is just a mental exercise with no activity at all. It's not going to produce that what you're thinking about. It's just a mental exercise. Wishing will cause you to stay in a fearful place with a mindset or a feeling that you should have been involved with doing something. How many times have you said, I wish I could have did this? Or I wish I would have did it this way? Do you see the passivity in that? There was no action behind the thought. Also, this type of temporary excitement, that means that is the preaching that's going on in some churches, has caused the mindset of some believers to lust for their healings, to lust for deliverance, to lust for God to speak to them. Now, I want you to see lust is more than just a strong sexual desire. You have to see it as passion that is going wrong. You have to see lust as passion going wrong. When someone is fueled by their lust, their motivation is wrong, and their principles in which they operate is founded on self-gratification, impatience, selfishness, and ungodly principles. Lust will never bring wholesome satisfaction because the flesh has no ability to please God or find peace and life. And if you need a reference for that, you can look at Romans 8, 6 through 8. You know, some people have no longer desire to prophesy. They no longer to operate or function in their gifts. You know, like I said with the prophecy, instead of them desiring to prophesy, now they're lusting after prophecy. I've been in so many conferences where somebody would say, you know, Apostle, that word that you prophesied to me came to pass. So you got another one for me? No, I don't. How many times have you found yourself maybe lusting after God to speak to you, or lusting after prophecy, lusting after things? It's real. This woman that we're talking about today, she was past all distractions and was fueled by her passion and desire to serve Jesus. No, this woman didn't take her gift and make a wish with it. And this can be seen today, where you understand and you know your gift that you are, but you're not functioning in it because you're wishing that you would function, or you're wishing that somebody would ordain you. You're wishing that you can do ministry instead of just going out and doing it. Take and switch it. Don't wish about it.
The question that the women brought in verse 6 that we were talking about, would you consider this a sacrifice or obedience that she brought this perfume? Because I know when I did years ago, I did research on this, when I did a research on the cost, which you already shared, this is like a year's wage for many people, an annual salary of what this perfume costs. And so I don't know how many people would give up their annual salary or wage for this. So would this be considered obedience, sacrifice, or both?
Thank you for that question. Yeah, I don't know anybody that would give up their entire year wage. Remember, I told you that back then that would be equal to $16,000. Today, it will be about $31,000 just given at one time. Um, and to answer your question, I would say it's both. It's obedience and sacrifice. Obedience because she just couldn't come up with that idea on her own. That was something that was God given to go in the midst of these men and take that oil and to anoint Jesus. That's something that was God given. So she was obedient in doing that. And the sacrifice came because she had to go in the midst of these men and sacrifice. Not just that sacrifice, but the sacrifice of her wages. Remember, this is an entire year. That means everything that she had. There wasn't no leftovers. There wasn't no savings account. That was everything. So yes, it was both. You know, this woman, her passion and her desire developed her in her intensity of pursuit and seeking out to serve Jesus. Again, her passion and her desire developed her intensity of pursuit and seeking out to serve Jesus. When you or I actively think and plan to reach out in the direction of our passion and desires, we will see progress in fulfilling our purpose or goals.
I just had a question. I wanted to know if you can give an example of how big an alabaster box was. I know when some people consider their gifts, they don't actually consider them to be expensive because whether you know it or not, you're always operating in your gifts and you can overlook it or feel like it's not valuable. So I just wanted to just get an idea of just how large the alabaster jar was and how much it was.
I don't know. Do you know?
I'm gonna look it up because that's a lot of money to be in a jar.
Well, it's not money. It was oil.
But when you convert it,
When you convert it to money, yeah. And I'm not for sure how large the alabaster box was, but it was oil. This is the top notch oil. So imagine today you going somewhere and you getting the top notch cologne or the perfume or the top notch weed or the top, you get the best of the best. Whatever it is that you like, and it's the name brand, nobody else has it, and it's worth a lot of money. You can look at the Jordans, you can look at watches, look at rings, the top notch, whether it's clothing or other materials. If you can envision the most costly thing, this is what I'm talking about. She gave it all. Can you imagine a multi-millionaire or billionaire just giving everything? If you can imagine that, this is the intensity of what she gave.
sometimes for people not to think that their gift is small. Jerry's saying about this gift. I think that it's small. I wanted people to understand that even though they might think that their gift is small, it's actually very valuable. I don't care if they're giving a couple of waters to somebody, you're still doing it in Jesus' name, or if you give somebody food, or if you sing, or if you teach, or if you preach. Don't look at it or discount it as something small because it's actually very valuable.
Thank you. That was really good because I know when I first started out in ministry, I was 19 years old. I learned a lot, but when I began to operate in the prophetic, I would only say one word. And I really thought that my gift in the prophetic was small until I learned to see the gift that I have. It wasn't for me. No matter how small the words that come out, the gift that I have is not small. It's very valuable.
Jerry gave a scripture that says the jar was about a pound.
Jar was about a pound.
That's small.
Yeah, yeah.
16 ounces.
Yeah. So I do want to encourage you all to even those that's listening online, the gift that you are, the gift that you have, it's not a small gift. And even if it is a small gift, you should see the value is large. The value that you have on that gift, the value that's in that gift is larger than the size of the gift. We have to see that. The value is greater than the size. The value is greater than the size. You know, proper development of passion and desire cannot be fully achieved without first planning and thinking of a workable strategy towards fulfillment. You know, excuse me, what I found really interesting is during this entire time that all this was going on, and again, you can look at Luke 7:36 through 50 when you get a chance. But he goes into greater detail. But when you look at this, all this entire time, at least it's not recorded, this woman, she did not say anything. You don't hear or see it recorded that she said anything. My passion and my desire is not for sale. But this woman, she didn't say anything. So what is it that we can learn from this woman? After all, we're talking about this woman who gave a year worth of earnings, something of valuable, and she gave it and poured it on Jesus. She anointed him. What can we learn from her? She was in the midst of all these men when it wasn't accustomed for her to be even in that place. What can we learn from this woman? I'll share some things that I learned reading this again and just going over it. Several things that we can learn is she understands and knows authority. She recognized the voice of authority. Remember I told you that this was something that she received from God? So she understands and knows authority, and she recognized the voice of authority because she couldn't have come up with this on her own. She could not conceive of giving a year worth of earnings that amount to and taking that expensive oil and anointing Jesus with it. The third thing that I think we can learn is you do not need to tell your gift. You just need to be your gift. Again, you don't need to tell your gift. You don't need to walk into a room and say, I am apostle so-and-so. I am prophet so-and-so. I am evangelist so-and-so. You just need to be your gift. She didn't come into the room and say, oh, yeah, I got an alabaster box full of oil and I got to anoint Jesus. She didn't say anything. She just allowed herself to be the gift. The fourth thing is you don't need to say what type of gift you are or what the gift is. You just need to present it. The fifth one is always be ready and yielded to make available your gift. So imagine you getting directional orders from God and he's telling you, I want you to be your gift and I want you to go here, but you're not in the place or you're not ready for it. Imagine if when she understood what she was supposed to do with her passion and her desire. Imagine her saying, well, I don't have no oil. So we always have to be ready and yielded to make our gift available. The other is understand the gift you are is costly and it's not for you. See, if you come to the conclusion or come to the realization that the gift that you are is for you, then you have sold out. Why do I say that? Because then you'll begin to think about yourself. You'll become prideful, and you'll see the things that you can accomplish in your gift, and then you'll begin to take advantage. You'll begin to become your own pimp. You'll be prostituting yourself. And we can actually see this happening today, where there's a lot of leaders on Christian television, they're their own pimp, prostituting their own gift. The other thing that I learned too from this woman, and I want you to see it, is you have to know and understand, although the gift is costly, it can never outmeasure the gift giver. Although the gift that you are is costly and it's very valuable, it can never outmeasure the one who gave you the gift. And I believe that's why it was so easy for this woman to some people would like to say, and I know the people who had indignation against her, waste her gift. But I don't see it as a waste, and she didn't see it as a waste, nor did Jesus see it as a waste. She understood that the gift that she had, it could not outweigh the giver of the gift. And we have to come to this conclusion. The gift that we are can never, ever outweigh the giver of the gift. So that means all that we have, all that we are, we need to bring it to him. There's one other thing that I would like to mention that I really learned from this woman is, yeah, she had a gift, and it was a precious gift of oil. But the oil is no use to her or anyone else until she broke the alabaster box. She had to first open or break the box to get the oil out and then actively apply the oil. So what am I saying? Your gift is very valuable. It's very valuable. But it is no use if you don't break out of being passive. If you don't break out of being rejected, if you don't break out of limitations and stop wishing, stop being in fear. So there has to be a breaking point in you that you realize. And this is why I started today with a reality check. Doing a reality check, we'll see that, oh, I have to have a breaking point, because what am I doing that I should not be doing, or what am I not doing that I should be doing? There's some places in our lives that we need to break free from and break out of so we can be the gift that God has called us to be. Break off those limitations. And then when you break out or break that alabaster box, so to speak, you'll see the preciousness of the oil. No limitations. That means you won't look at what others are saying against you. Whatever they're murmuring, it won't affect you. Whatever challenges that may come or may occur, it will not affect you. But you'll face them head on. And this is what this woman did. She faced the challenges. She understood that there were men in there and that she should not be in that place, but she went on and did it anyway. She didn't see the limitations as the limitations. Because if she would have saw them as a real limitation, she wouldn't have went. This is what we do today. When we see a limitation or we see a challenge, we stop. My passion, my desire is not for sale. I don't care what the limitation is, what the challenge is, we have to move forward. We have to move forward. So I want to encourage you to understand that your passion and your desires should not be for sale. One other thing, too, that I want to mention before I close out is, remember I said this woman had a vision and a mission. She understood her place in that vision and in that mission. She was passionate about it, and that's why she actively did it. So, what are you passionate about? What is your desires when it comes to being a part of the vision here? Do you see yourself in the vision? Are you passionate? Do you desire to do the things of the vision? I think once we come to that conclusion, that realization, that we must be passionate and have a desire to see the vision go further than what it is, we'll see the limitations break off. We'll see fear break off. Amen. Do we have any questions or any comments? Yeah. All right. So I want to thank you guys again for joining us today. Those of you online, thank you for joining in. Perhaps you're watching it later, I don't know. But if you are, thank you. And we're going to go ahead and ask you to make an investment. Be passionate and have a desire to invest in something that's going somewhere. So you can go ahead and do that, and you can visit aotbm.org, and you can make an investment there. Amen.